creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Hello, friends. 2 seconds. I usually am spot on. I got it, but tonight I don't have it. A little frazzled, a little behind schedule. Dealing with some network issues this morning, or this evening, and computer issues. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think we're good. It began in July of 1518 in the city of Strasbourg. A woman named Frau Trophia stepped into the street and started to dance. No music played, no festival was underway. She moved with a strange, relentless rhythm that soon drew a crowd. When exhaustion dropped her to the ground, she slept for minutes, then rose and began again. Within days, dozens joined her, men, women, convulsing and swaying through the summer heat, their feet bleeding against the cobblestones. They couldn't stop, not to eat, not to sleep, not even to live. City officials called it a curse. Doctors called it hot blood. A priest named Saint Vitus, the saint believed to punish sinners with uncontrollable motion. But by the end of the month, more than 400 people were dancing in the streets, many until their hearts gave out. What began with one woman spread like a fever, and for a brief, terrifying moment, an entire city moved to a rhythm no one could hear. Tonight, on Beyond the Shadows podcast, we are discussing the Dancing Plague. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome the freak in. Welcome to Beyond the Shadows podcast, season 2, episode 41. Oh my gosh, really? Now my soundboard wants to act up. I'm having so much trouble today. Yeah, that's the one. Play, it's not playing. Awesome. Cool, so that's not going to work. We're going to go back to this sound. Welcome in, season 2, episode 41 of Beyond the Shadows podcast. I am Victus, I'm your host, and this is our last episode before Halloween, which explains my ridiculous outfit. Tonight we're discussing the Dancing Plague. It's as simple as that. We're discussing the Dancing Plague. We are doing it. The plan was to do something a little spookier, but let's keep it lighthearted and have a little fun with this one. So I think this one will be good. It's a really interesting story. I actually talked to some people last night about it, and I'm really looking forward to it. This one's going to be good. This one will be good. Welcome in, one and all. Welcome in. Halloween episode, so I'm going to be wearing my ridiculous Snorlax onesie because this is the only Halloween costume I have. I am not like these other streamers and have tons of great costumes and things to wear on stream. I am a pretty boring guy, and tonight this is what you get, Snorlax. Welcome in. I was going to try to set up a multicast stream tonight. I had a little bit of technical issue getting that going. I got it working, but I didn't have time to update the information, so the plan was to go live on YouTube as well. However, that didn't seem to pan out. So next week we will be multi-streaming, seeing how now that's a plugin that OBS allows and Twitch allows, so we're going to do that next week. We do have a couple honorable mentions to give a shout out to. Lady Cece has subscribed on YouTube. Welcome. Thank you, Lady Cece, for your contribution. And Jane has subscribed on YouTube. Thank you so much, Jane and Cece. You guys are both amazing. It's Lady Cece, excuse me. You guys are both amazing. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome. Yeah, just got an email that we were live. Cool. Yeah, so that's all the new information we got. Other than that, we do have this week's news in paranormal. I hope y'all are ready for that. This one's going to be fun. So let's get into it. Let's get into our news and paranormal. As of October 26, 2025, here are your paranormal headlines. High School Musical alum Vanessa Hudgens shares ghostly encounters. Hudgens discussed her ability to connect with spirits on the Kelly Clarkson Show, describing an incident that occurred with a toy duck when she was 8 years old. She says that after shutting the gift down for a while due to fear, she's now embraced her ability and conducted her first paranormal investigations. Kudos on you. Wasn't expecting that headline tonight. Ghost Hunters star recalls his scariest moment in an interview. Steve Gonsalves from the popular show Ghost Hunters has described his emotional and chilling experience investigating the famously haunted Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Hey, less than. I'm gonna be playing a game at the same time with Jaden, so I'll just be lurking.
That's totally fine.
Just wanted to make sure I was here though. Less than 3. Love the Snorlax hoodie.
Thank you. This is my Halloween costume. I'm glad you're here. If you don't have to lurk. It's totally fine if you got stuff you need to do. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Let's see. He described his most chilling experience at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. He notes the location with its history of suffering was both beautiful and overwhelming. And we do have some Bigfoot and cryptid news. Prominent Bigfoot researcher Jeffrey Meldrum dies. The Wall Street Journal reported that the passing of Jeffrey Meldrum, a scholar who brought scientific rigor to the study of the cryptids, he was 67 years old.
Waverly Hills fucking terrifies me.
Yes.
NGL.
It is intense. We should cover that one. It'd be a good one. It would be a good one. A lot of great. We could actually
spooky time.
We could actually pull some good video or photo evidence. Manu, how you doing? Welcome in. I'm glad you're here.
67. Didn't make it to 69. How sad.
Oh, jeez.
Hi, Moni.
It's really hard to hold a beer can with these hands.
Gummy.
Let's see. Yeah, we actually talked about Jeffrey Meldrum a couple episodes ago. I don't remember precisely. Oh, it was the freaking Bridgewater Triangle. So that was the last episode.
Moni.
New exhibit explores indigenous perspective on Sasquatch. An exhibit in Oregon called the Evergreen.
Hi, Worldsy.
The Evergreen Sasquatch Museum exhibit focuses on indigenous perspectives, is highlighting the lore and meaning of the Bigfoot within indigenous
ads, by the way.
Ooh. You're not missing anything important. This is just your headlines. And close to home for me here, Reddit users share Virginia ghost stories. A Reddit thread highlighted local folklore and haunted locations in Virginia. Examples of sightings and haunted spots are mentioned, including a place in Leesburg.
Hope you're well, Victus.
And Lake Anna. I am well. Thank you very much. I'm very well. We will,
Gummy Shark, hey Gummy.
I would really like to, World's Confusion, how's it going? Wow, we got the little squad here tonight. Hey, friends. I'm going to do my very best to,
Hi, Victus.
How are you, friend? I'm glad everyone is here. I really am. I'm so glad. I'm going to do my best that when ads come in, just let me know. And we will just bullshit for a little bit. I've got no problem waiting. Not everybody can afford the sub. I get it. I get one sub a month because I have Amazon Prime. But I don't necessarily watch a lot of streamers. But, you know, I will do my part.
Did I miss the Dancing Plague?
We are doing the Dancing Plague tonight. Tonight is the dancing plague. Yes, yes. But if ads pop up, let me know. And we'll take a small little break and let me know when you come back, and we'll make sure everybody stays up to speed. I noticed another streamer was doing it, and I said, hey, that's a really cool idea. I like it. So we're going to keep with that. I like it. Let's keep everybody in the loop. No point in people missing out because they can't pay monies. Don't fucking buy subs. It's going to hurt your pocketbook because of me. We're here for fun. Funsies.
Okay, watching Snorlax vape is hilarious.
This is my favorite onesie, by the way. I didn't have any especially amazing costumes to wear tonight because this is our quote-unquote Halloween episode, because we won't be live again until after Halloween. So tonight's our Halloween episode. Cue the spooky sounds. Yes, yes, yes. Spooky sounds. It is spooky season. I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful Halloween. This will be, piece of me wants to fire up the smoke machine, but the last time we did, I got a really sweet upper respiratory infection because I am in a closed room, and I don't think we're really supposed to breathe that stuff in, so we're not going to do the smoke machine for a little while, I don't think. We'll hit 500 subs, or enough subs, 500 followers, and we'll do the smoke machine. How about that? So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. If the soundboard is a little louder than normal, let me know. I had some issues with losing files in the soundboard, so we are missing a few of them, but I don't think you guys will even notice them. However, if the sounds are a little loud, let me know. I will adjust them accordingly. Lost all my settings. I don't know what happened. I had to go back in and reinstall 35 individual sounds. Oh, jeez. It's a blast. It's a blast. So, before we get going, I want to take a second to say, we are covering the dancing plague. It is a strange time in history. Yes, it is. And while researching this, a very specific question came up. And this question is near and dear to my heart. So I will ask this question now. Those of you watching, you're welcome to participate. I would love to hear everybody's input on this. But the question is, what shirt are you wearing today? I considered not wearing a shirt underneath this and being like, psych.
Jurassic Park logo on grey.
Oh, sweet. Love me a good Jurassic Park shirt. I've got a few of them.
My X-Files hand shirt, actually.
Oh, yes. Did you know they're redoing new episodes of X-Files are coming? We talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm really excited. Really, really excited. I still watch X-Files. Like, it's on the server. I stream it all the time. Love me some X-Files. Tonight, I'm rocking the hedgehog.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. No, Jurassic Park.
At Moni_moo_Ollie Emscoff.
Your ass is scar. Your ass is Park. Shark, what game you guys playing?
Got to go fast.
I'm just curious what game you got going on.
Fast as fuck, boy. Terraria.
Oh, Terraria. I've tried it. I really want to get into it. I really do.
I don't have my Sonic emote anymore.
Oh, no. Back when I was streaming gaming, I had a Sonic emote. I actually just deleted it like 2 months ago. Nobody watched the stream, so nobody was using the emotes. So I rebranded everything. Now we got cool spooky emotes in here. We got some of the originals. Here's a few of the new ones.
It was hand drawn and his eyes were big and red.
Yeah, did some work. Got some sweet emotes in there. Shark, Sweet Shark has her own emote now. Check that out. Then I got a few from back when I was doing my art stuff. And then I have one of the late great Potato. Admittedly my favorite. I would have loved to seen that Sonic emote. Love me some Sonic. It's one of the first things I did to my Steam Deck when I got it was
Ollie MIFF Brutal 91 Boo Brutal 91 Clap Brutal 91 Sulk Flip 3 Web.
Oh yeah. I love all of these. These are all great. Look at the little dancing ghost. I love that. Oh yeah, I really love that dancing ghost emote. That's really great. But yeah, that's one of the first things I did to my Steam Deck was I modded it to play, run emulators.
Likes.
Whoa. These are cool. You got some cool ones here. See, everybody's got better emotes. Everybody always have better emotes. I am not the best streamer. It's taken me many years to get to where I am today. Admittedly, the most growth has
Paul
happened.
Mug got his blood washed off.
Yeah. A lot of places are censoring that now. Like, geez, there's a couple guys on YouTube I like to watch, and when blood is involved, they have to be like, "Oh no, that's spilled ketchup." It's really ridiculous. Like, come on. I actually got a warning from EA today. So on my EA account, because I'm playing Battlefield, my EA account, I'm still using the name Fuzzy Kitten Butts, and they gave me a warning for profanity because of my username. So, thanks EA for making me feel great about that. Now I got to change my freaking
Challenge
name.
Everything.
I know, right? I will be emailing them because
Butts is profane. Lol.
yeah.
Judas.
Butts with a Z on top of that. A kitten butt. Like, come on. Like, really, it's just... I've been using this name for years. 9, 10
Kids say
years?
butts.
I know. It's just... It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I've been playing Battlefield since it launched, and they haven't said anything to me until today. Which makes me think that somebody reported me. Just... absolutely ridiculous. Probably somebody reported me. I get reported all the time because they assume that I'm a girl gamer because of the name, and I always use a girl character. Yeah.
Or a terms change.
Right? Yeah. Something. I don't know. I'll figure out something. I'm gonna challenge it though. 10 years I've been using that name. I'm not gonna give it up now. Whatever. Let's get into it, folks. Let's tie off into the, let's get off into the freaking dancing plate. We got quite a lot to go through. We do actually have some of the wood cuttings. Make sure I still got those saved here.
Ooh, you've GPT a Stephen Rhodes.
GTP is Stephen Rhodes. I'm confused. I don't know what these words mean. I'm a simpleton.
TYHE Don't Talk to Strangers poster. The artist is Stephen Rhodes.
Okay.
I've got load of his t-shirts.
Really? Oh, the one behind me. Yeah. Oh, took me a second. I pulled them up and I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. I want to move the camera, but I don't because I'm having issues with that cable. Yeah, that's one of his. Yeah, it's got his name in the corner. Cool. I didn't know that's who that was. Shame on me. I have like 2 of his shirts. What's the one with like the kids standing around a pentagram? What are they saying? Like, let's summon a demon or something like that?
No shame.
Yeah, I mean, shame on me. I should know. I'm particular about artists.
Let's summon demons.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep, got hat.
That's a good one. I have that shirt. It doesn't fit me anymore. My fat ass. I've gained a bunch of weight. But this was a birthday present.
That.
I got it like last second birthday present, and it worked out because this is a window. And when I reorganized everything and redesigned the
I
background,
have seen the demon one.
when I redid the background, I didn't know what I was going to cover the window with. So I put up a green screen and ran like a GIF of like a cat, and it just wasn't vibing correctly. Oh, there it is. That's the one. Activities for children. Yeah, here's the poster. Oh, it's a game? Ages 12 and up. What? Oh yeah, I need this. Yeah. Yeah, I love this. I love this.
Cool.
I feel like that's a new one. What is that one? Choose your prize. Oh, all the names on the wheel say hell.
I have in case of emotions, assume the fetal position. I need that. My first Ouija board. I don't got to sleep one.
Who the fuck cares? See you later, assholes. Life skills. This is cool. I like the color scheme on this one.
That one with them coming out the wardrobe.
Oh, yeah, I really like that one. Oh, yeah, I love that one. I love all of these. Hellhound, that's cool. You complete me. I know we usually don't deviate like this, but I'm having a good time. It's fine. I would honestly rather cater to you guys watching than, do the podcast. I'm cool with that. I'll spend the whole episode just hanging out. Oh, yoga.
Oh, cool. I'd not seen the one.
I wish there was a better picture. I am your god now. Oh, yes. I love this.
Yeah, sorry. I have contributed heavily to the derailing.
No. Hey, it's totally fine. I love it.
Your fault for having cool stuff.
Hey, no, thank you. I'm honestly, okay, look here. My wife's parents aren't the best at she's in the other room. They're not the best at gift giving. And last second, they're like, hey, we saw this and we thought of you. And I was like, oh my God, you guys hit the nail on the head. This is perfect. So I was very, very happy with that one. You were my chosen one. Yeah, there's our Don't Talk to Strangers. Hey, these are great. Oh, look, there's Stephen Rhodes, everybody. Round of applause for Stephen Rhodes. This is epic. I love this. Stay positive. That's me at work every single day. My life in a nutshell. Let's dig for treasure. Death metal sing-along in stereo. Yeah, he's really nailed down this this like retro, like 60s, 70s album cover art vibe.
Yeah.
Public service announcement. Don't be a garbage person.
Other people have done the same thing, but not hit the aesthetic right.
No, he's got it. He's got it. This is great. I didn't know there were so many. Teenage mutated samurai worms. Don't frig with me. Yeah, he's posted
Yeah,
up.
he's got his OPWN website.
No, this is great. I love these. Radiate positivity.
You also get his stuff on Redbubble and TeePublic.
Okay, I like Redbubble. I do have a few things from Redbubble. Can you help solve the mystery of who gives a shit? Oh, he's got an energy drink. Really? Okay, that's kind of great. So I collect cans. I have a large collection of different cans, and I would buy this one to keep it. I have... Check this out.
Oh cool, that would fit in great.
Let me see how long I've had this. This was sealed in 1999. You ready? Oh, here, let me go back to this. There you go. Warped Tour water. I used to work at Hot Topic, and they would send me to
I
Warped
need to
Tour.
just make designs to sell as shirts on Redbubble Ugh.
Oh, yeah, right? That was my plan. Years ago, I put together a whole business plan. I wanted to start a t-shirt company, but back then there wasn't an easy way to do it, and at this point now my style is probably not the greatest and nobody would buy it, but yeah, that was the plan. I should have done it. I should have waited and kept some of my things. I mean, I still got like the digital copies, but yeah, Shark, you could absolutely do it. Judging by how fast you sketched that Cadet Skeona a few weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. You got it, Shark. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. Well, shit, we're 30 minutes in and I'm a beer and a half down. Let's get into Act 1. Are you guys ready? Oh, geez, I haven't tested my acts overlays. I hope they work. This is Act 1 of The Dancing Plague. Act 1. We'll deviate a little bit more later, but for now, let's get into it.
Do you have an Insta or anything gummy? Or do you stream?
Gonna wait for Shark to answer.
Sorry, I will let you focus.
No, you're fine. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna pause speech for now so we can get some of the script going, but I will be monitoring
I want to
chat.
hear about the dancing plague too.
We're going. We're just gonna mute the speech for now. Nothing against everybody. I love talking with everybody, but we got to get into it at least a little bit. All right. So it's Strasbourg in 1518, a city standing between two worlds, one medieval, one modern, and caught in attention of both. It was part of the Holy Roman Empire back then, a patchwork of faith, politics, and fear. The Rhine River carried trade, gossip in equal measure, and its streets were filled with merchants, pilgrims, and the poor. Beneath the stone towers and church bells, there was a hunger. A brutal famine had swept the region just months earlier. Harvests failed, bread prices soared, and the people of Strasbourg lived on the edge of starvation. To make matters worse, disease still haunted the city. The plague had passed through not long before, leaving entire families dead in its wake. Those who survived carried scars, both physical and unseen. It was a city tired of death, but terrified of what came next. Religion ruled every part of daily life. The church people told people when to work, when to rest, when to confess, and when to fast. Misfortune was seen not as a chance, but as punishment. If your crops failed, it meant you had sinned. If your child died, you angered a saint. One saint in particular held special meaning in that part of Europe, Saint Vitus. He was believed to have power over movement, to cure or to curse. Those who suffered seizures, tremors, or strange fits were said to have, quote, Saint Vitus dance. It was thought that praying at his shrines, walking barefoot to his chapels, or touching relics in his name could free the afflicted. But if you crossed him, the legend warned he could take control of your body, forcing you to dance until your soul was clean. But by 1518, stories of dancing plagues linked to Saint Vitus were already a century old. The people of Strasbourg had heard them of the dancing outbreaks in Aachen in 1374, in Erfurt and Metz. Each time, the madness had passed as mysteriously as it had began. Priests claimed it was divine. Physicians claimed it was the heat. So when Frau Trophia began to dance in the streets, those stories came rushing back. We know her name only because of a few surviving city records. Frau Trophia, possibly the wife of a tradesman living in a modest home on a narrow lane. What drove her into the street remains unknown. No record of madness, no mention of drink, no fever or delirium. She simply began to move. Witnesses say she seemed neither joyful nor in pain, just driven. She danced for hours, then days, pausing only to rest before rising again. Her husband pleaded with her to stop. Neighbors brought water, bread, and prayers, but none of it mattered. And soon, the movement spread. By the end of the week, several others had joined her. Some said they danced because they felt a strange compulsion, an inner heat that could only be eased by the movement. Others joined out of fear or curiosity and found they couldn't stop. So they joined because of an inner heat? I'm sorry, but that sounds a little too innuendo-y for me. An inner heat? Inner heat. Witnesses said she seemed neither joyful nor in pain, just driven. She danced for hours, then days, pausing only to rest before rising again. Wait a second, why are we saying the same thing again? By the end of the week, several others had joined her. Some say they danced because they felt a strange compulsion in her heat. Within 10 days, the count had reached dozens. The city's narrow streets filled with bodies jerking and twisting, their clothing soaked in sweat, their faces pale and empty. The city council, alarmed by the growing disturbance, called in physicians. Their diagnosis was simple but dangerous. Hot blood. They believed the dancer's blood had literally overheated, causing delirium and spasms. The treatment, according to the medicine of the day, was to let the body purge itself by more dancing. It sounds absurd now, but it was standard practice for the 1500s. Doctors prescribed balance, not removal. If you had too much melancholy, they gave you laughter. Too much heat, they gave you movement. So under official order, the council council cleared space in the marketplace and guide halls for the dancers. They even hired musicians to accompany them, believing music would help them dance out the sickness. It had the exact opposite effect. Imagine it. The summer heat baking the cobblestones, the air thick with the stench of sweat and dust, and a crowd of hundreds swaying in wild, unending rhythm. Some collapsed from exhaustion, only to be carried aside and replaced by others. Chroniclers describe 400... Oh, the audio quit up for a second. Chroniclers describe 400 dancers filling the square. Drummers and pipers played while the afflicted moved without rest. The spectacle drew onlookers from surrounding villages. Some came to pray, some to gawk, and some to join, thinking in a kind of holy trance. Contemporary reports mention deaths from heart failure and stroke. Men and women in their 20s and 30s simply dropped mid-step. But still the music continued. The authorities had no framework for hysteria, only faith, medicine, and fear. It wasn't until late August that they realized their mistake. As the death toll rose, the city turned back to the church. Clergymen insisted the dancers were suffering under a curse from Saint Vitus himself, a punishment for sin and impiety. The council agreed to a new remedy. They would lead the dancers to a shrine of the saint located in Saverne, about 30 miles away. There, priests performed rituals of purification. They placed the dancers' feet into consecrated shoes, anointed them with holy oil, and offered relics to be kissed. Some of the afflicted recovered. Whether from exhaustion, relief, or belief, no one could say. Others never returned. But by early September, the phenomena had faded, the music stopped, and the stages were dismantled. Strasbourg fell quiet again. But the question remained, what really happened? To understand the outbreak, you have to understand the city's state of mind. Strasbourg in 1518 was under siege from invisible enemies: hunger, plague, heat, and superstition. The famine of 1517 to 1518 had driven food prices beyond reach. Many survived on spoiled bread made from rye that had been stored too long and grown damp. Conditions ripe for the ergot fungus, which we will touch on later. Add to that the spiritual terror of the age. The Reformation was on the horizon. People whispered about omens and divine wrath. Strange lights in the sky were taken as warnings. The city's faith, once unshakable, had become fragile. Every sermon reminded them that sin was everywhere, in the body, in thought, in sleep. It's not hard to imagine that guilt and hunger combined would make a person's mind break under the weight. So when one woman began to move uncontrollably, it struck a nerve. Fear is contagious, and so is faith. And sometimes both move through a crowd the same way, silently, invisible, and without reason. Excuse me. If Strasbourg had been the only case... Goodness. I'm hitting my low register a little too much today. Ugh. If Strasbourg had been the only case, it might have been dismissed as local madness. But the records show otherwise. Yes, she does have really fantastic art, doesn't she? Just 140 years earlier in Aachen, witnesses wrote of thousands dancing in the streets, crying out in pain and religious ecstasy. The same occurred in Cologne, Metz, and Erfurt, towns all along the Rhine tied together by trade and faith. Yeah, Shark, you gotta say thanks. We know that you're good. You good, girl. You good. Keep it up. Keep on keeping on. That's all I gotta say. Gonna try to rearrange this window right quick. Alright, every time the same symptoms. Spasms, exhaustion, hallucinations, and compulsion to move. Every time the same cure. Music, prayer, and pilgrimage. And every time the madness burned itself out, leaving historians to guess whether it was disease, poison, or a mass delusion. It seemed that something about that religion, its heat, its grain, its belief, created the perfect conditions for a mind to lose itself in motion. When modern researchers look back, they see the convergence of psychology, sociology, and environment. The psychogenic epidemic, they call it, a physical manifestation of shared stress and fear, the same mechanism that would later appear in a laughter epidemic in 1962, where hundreds of schoolgirls laughed uncontrollably for months. It's the body of rebelling against trauma, the mind finding an escape it can't control. But in 1518, none of that science existed. To the people of Strasbourg, what they saw was the supernatural made visible. Sin and punishment played out in public. When it finally ended... Oh, excuse me, I skipped. In every age, we search for meaning in our suffering. The people of Strasbourg looked for it in the divine. The physicians looked for it in the blood. And as the heat bore down on the city that summer, hundreds of men and women moved to a rhythm that no one else could hear. A rhythm born of hunger, faith, and fear. When it finally ended, it left behind no prophecy, no cure, and no answer. Only the silence of empty streets and the uneasy feeling that something deeper had passed through them all. But what happened at Strasbourg wasn't unique. The same shadow had appeared before, and it would return again.
Yes, good call. My official
okay.
Insta is lost because I can't act.
Okay, yep, going to... Yep, I paused the speech, so when I press play, it'll just cut back up. There we go. The speech is back on. Excuse me. So yeah, we've got the dancing plague. It's exactly like you think. One person starts dancing in the middle of town, and for some reason, everybody else came around and started doing it too. And we don't know why. We do not know why. A plague is a really good way of calling it. I think at this point we can pretty definitively say that we're not dealing with something viral, right? Yeah, that just doesn't make sense. There is okay, so we do have a really good explanation for why this happened, and we'll get into this here at the end. But it is very unique. I do see a major difference between this and something like mass hysteria or mass psychosis. It is really hot in this hood. Jeez, let me just cool my head off for a little bit. Definite parallels between what we're seeing in mass hysteria and mass psychosis. However, the parallels are thin at best, right? We're not seeing like perfect 100% parallels. We're seeing, like one or two little details. But there is like a psychological factor to what we're looking at here. So, let's not disregard anything yet. Let's hear some more evidence and then we'll make up our minds here at the end. Hold on, what's going on here? Excuse me. I think it got a little warm. All right, so we're moving on to Act 2. Act 2 is subtitled The Madness Spreads. We're going to cover some stories that are similar but not the same, per se. But there are other instances that parallel almost exactly the dancing plague of 1518. So let's get
You
into
got the dancing plague.
I do have the dancing plague. Especially when our
Ollie makes world's 31 height.
especially when the freaking "What Shirt Are You Wearing Today" song is on. That really gets me going. The only time you'll see me dance is here on the podcast. I do not dance. If you can call that dancing. Ollie, how you doing, buddy? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. We got so many people here tonight. What's going on now? Madamu, what are you talking about? Oh, are you talking about Ollie? All right, well, let's get into Act 2. We're going to talk about some similar cases to the dancing plague. I got it, you got it, we all got it. This is a great opportunity for me to play like the theme song from the podcast, and that's one of the audio clips that I wasn't able to get back up on the soundboard. Jeez. Well, of course she's being friendly. Nothing wrong with being friendly. Oh. I gotcha. Yeah. It's kind of the same here. Kind of the same. Yeah, I guess I get it. Give the piss plague. Wait, I have a laughter track. There it is. Go on and pee. Just a reminder, if y'all get hit with ads, let me know, and we'll make sure that we stop the discussion so we can wait for everybody to come in. Isn't there a way I can see, like, the ads that are coming? Is that through Twitch? Oop. I almost had a music video pop up. I'm pretty sure there's like a little tiny panel in the stream manager that is that I can pop out and it'll show me the ads. Yes, okay, there it is. I found it. Pop out ads manager. There we go. I want it over here so I can see it. Yeah, so I got to count down 11 minutes until ads, folks. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, we got 11 minutes till ads. I've got a timer now. I'm watching it. So when we get close, I'll make sure that we stop talking about the script here so everybody can keep up. The Parapod podcast? No, I haven't. I don't think. I'm going to go ahead and enable speech because I want to look it up. I am the guy to want to check out podcasts. It sounds familiar. Are they on Twitch by any chance? Because I'm quick to follow people on Twitch.
It's hard to find now. They took it down cause of hosting fees. They made a movie. No, not on Twitch.
Ah, that's... Okay, yeah, I see him. I see him on
It
Spotify.
was just 30 episodes. Started about 2015. Ian Bolsworth and Barry Dodds.
If they're on Spotify, I'll listen to them. I am a podcast listening ass dude. Oh, wait, there they are. Yeah. I found them.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
So do I. I do too. I have found that I do exponentially better work when I don't have to interact with everybody else at the
I listen to
shop.
it most nights to go to sleep.
Excuse me. Well, if you want an audiobook, I'll put you on an audiobook.
So I've heard the whole thing like 30 times.
I'll check it out. Yeah. I've got them pulled up on Spotify here. Let me find this book. I think...
Ooh yay, audiobook Rex.
Yeah. I think there's a way I can look and see which ones I've read. Oh yeah, here we go. Excuse me. Justin Cronin. Let me pull it up. Oh, you're gonna love this. It's a vampire book, but it's different from what you think. It's way different from what you think. Behold, The Passage. Freaking just... There's 3 books in the series. I destroyed them in a week. Oh my gosh. Fantastic writing. Absolutely fantastic writing. Fantastic storytelling. Oh, it says are we running an ad right now? But still, anywho, one of the best series of books I've read in a long time. In a long time. Go and check it out. You'll get hooked by book 1. And by the end of book 3, you're going to want more. And unfortunately, there's only 3. But, oh my gosh. Some of the best books I've read in a long time. You know, a little guilty pleasure of mine is I like young adult novels. They just read easier. They're easier to digest. You can passively listen, so like I listen while I'm at work. And so I do a lot of John Green. I really like John Green. Looking for Alaska is my go-to. I've read it 100,000 times. I absolutely adore that book. I have a signed copy downstairs. Don't poo-poo John Green because he wrote The Fault in Our Stars. John Green has written some amazing books. I have his entire his entire library. I love all of his books. but see, let me see, what year did Looking for Alaska come out? ...2005. So since 2005, I've been looking for a set of books to really scratch that itch for me. And this book here by Justin Cronin did it. I highly recommend this book. Highly recommended. Phenomenal. You'll love it. If you like vampires, it'll scratch that itch for you. I promise.
I just started 9 Princes in Amber series.
9 Princes in Amber.
A friend recommended.
What is it about? Well, let me just look it up. Ooh, okay. I'll check it out, because the one I'm reading now, I don't really care for it. It's okay. I'm trudging through it just to say I finished it, honestly. But yeah. I will check this out for sure. I've got a great app that God bless public libraries, because now I can check out audiobooks from every public library in the state of Virginia, and I don't have to go to the public library to get them anymore. I'm going to see if this is in here.
Dope.
Oh no, they don't have it. Blah blah. But I will get it. I do the Google reward stuff, so I get some money from doing surveys, and I will put that money towards getting that first book. I'll see what it's all about. Anywho, so we're gonna get into Act 2, everybody. We're an hour deep, and we should have been half through. I'm not complaining. I love talking to y'all in chat, especially y'all. But yeah, let's get into. I'm going to go ahead and. Unfortunately, I'm going to disable speech. Just for now, until we get to the end of Act 2. But we're going to get into Act 2 about the madness spreading. This is Act 2, everybody. Act 2. Here we go. In the summer of 1518, the city of Strasbourg was not merely a witness to hysteria, it became its stage. And when Frau Trophia first began to dance, she was one body moving against the silence of an ordinary street. A week later, she was joined by a dozen others. By the second week, there were hundreds. What began as an oddity turned into a civic emergency. Chroniclers recorded that the afflicted moved without music, yet kept the measure, jerking and swaying as though guided by an unseen piper. They danced in doorways, alleys, open squares. Onlookers watched from windows, praying or turning away. By mid-July, the streets were filled day and night. The first deaths went unrecorded. People collapsing from exhaustion or heart failure were not unusual in an age without shade, medicine, or rest. But as the number of dancers grew, so did the panic. Shopkeepers closed their stalls. Families barred their doors. The sounds of bare feet striking stone echoed through the city until dawn. Strasbourg's council, desperate to appear in control, held emergency meetings. The surviving notes from those sessions still exist, preserved in the city's archives. They confirm what later historians like John Waller and Peraclius, some strange name, I'm not going to try to... the physician alchemist would later describe a city caught between two explanations, one spiritual, one medical, and unsure which was killing its citizens faster. On one side, the clergy urged repentance and prayer. On the other, physicians warned that repression would make things worse. The body, they said, had to exhaust itself. The blood must cool through motion. So the council made a decision that now reads like a tragic irony. The sanctioned public dancing halls, hired professional musicians and brought pipers and drummers in to assist the afflicted. By late July, Strasbourg's marketplace had become a scene of organized chaos. A wooden platform was built to give dancers room to move freely. Eyewitnesses wrote of men and women dancing until they fell dead. Some recovered only to begin again, and others never rose. The heat was relentless. Temperatures exceeding 90 degrees Fahrenheit that summer, and the city reeked of sweat, rot, and fear. The council's decision backfired spectacularly. Instead of burning out, the mania intensified. Musicians, terrified but bound by their orders, played until their fingers bled. Onlookers described it as both mesmerizing and horrifying. A mass of bodies convulsing to music that seemed to feed the madness rather than to cure it. I feel like this specific circumstance would be very, very accurately portrayed with, like, an AI video generator, right? What am I thinking of? There's a scene in a movie with a bunch of people dancing. Was it in 300? Oh, blips here, everybody. Shout out to Blip, everybody. Thank you for your Prime sub. Appreciate that. You're 4 months strong. You are the reigning champ right now. Thank you, sir, for your 4 month sub. I appreciate that. 4 months in a row. Where have you been, buddy? We missed you. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're trying to find this slow motion dancing scene. I thought it was in 300, but I don't see it. Oh, wait. Was it The Matrix? Yes, it was The Matrix. Yes. Hold on. Wait. No, you're fine, man. I'm just making sure you're all right. If I had your email, I would have reached out to you and make sure you're okay. But, everybody's got their own lives. Everybody's got their own lives. They got their own things to deal with. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here, friend. Let's, I think I can play this video with no audio, and we should be okay. Here we go. This is so when they're talking about hundreds of thousands of people in the street dancing, this is what popped into my head. The dancing scene in the cave from The Matrix. Right? This is exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Like this. This exactly. Ooh, they're doing sexy stuff. Yeah, this is what I'm picturing in a 1500 street. People just gross and sweaty. Ooh, don't look there. We didn't see anything. They were doing sexy stuff. Hey, Blip, it's good. Do what you gotta do, man. Take care of yourself. Number one rule: take care of yourself. I'm glad you're here. Don't put yourself out to be here. We're always gonna be here. We will always be here. I'm glad you're here, though. I'm glad you're feeling better. Ignore the sexy Matrix dancing stuff. You didn't see anything sexy. All right, well, let's see. What frightened the council most wasn't the deaths, it was how easily the behavior spread. No one who joined had been coerced, they simply began to move. Psychologists now recognize this as mass psychogenic contagion, when emotion and stress are transmitted through observation and suggestion. But in 1518, such terms didn't exist. What the people of Strasbourg saw looked like possession, the human body turned puppet by invisible hands. And it wasn't the first time this contagion began to move through Europe. Nearly a century and a half earlier, in Aachen, 1374, the same phenomena had erupted. Thousands had gathered along the Rhine River, convulsing and crying out. Chroniclers said that they claimed to see demons or the face of Christ. They begged priests to exorcise them, and some leapt into the river, believing only the water could cool their fever. The Archbishop of Cologne had ordered processions of the afflicted to the shrines of Saint Vitus, hoping the divine mercy would cure them. The outcome was the same: exhaustion, collapse, and death. Records from Metz and Erfurt in the 1400s showed near identical symptoms: convulsions, hallucinations, and an inability to stop moving. The only constant was the name invoked, Saint Vitus. These outbreaks became so feared that Saint Vitus dance entered medical vocabulary. The term survives even today, though modern medicine now uses it for a neurological disorder known as Sydenham's chorea. Yeah, that's a new one to me. Let me look that up. Let's look it up. Sydenham's chorea is a neurological disorder characterized by jerky, uncontrollable movements that appear suddenly in children and young people. Movements that appear are often after a streptococcal infection like strep throat or a rheumatic fever. The main symptom is involuntary chorea, or Saint Vitus dance, but it also can cause emotional instability, muscle weakness, and difficulty with fine motor control. While it often resolves on its own, more severe cases may require medication to manage symptoms. Oh gosh, there's videos. Oh geez, I don't want to see those. But in the 15th and 16th century, it meant something else: divine retribution, visible and unstoppable. By the first week of August of 1518, the dance had consumed the city. Reports estimate anywhere from 200 to 400 participants, a staggering number for population barely exceeding over 25,000. The afflicted came from every class: housewives, apprentices, beggars, even members of a guild family. The council records note that those who resisted were often drawn in after witnessing the spectacle. The chronicler Sebastian Brandt, author of Ship of Fools, wrote in a letter that, quote, "Many have perished of the heat while dancing, and the madness shows no sign of ceasing," end quote. As bodies piled up, the council finally reversed its stance. The musicians were dismissed, the stages dismantled, and priests were summoned. Under church supervision, groups of dancers were escorted to the shrine of Saint Vitus in Saverne. Roughly 30 miles from Strasbourg, the journey was made on foot through forest and farmland, guided by clerics who feared the madness might spread to others along the road. At the shrine, priests placed the afflicted in front of the statue of the saint, washed their feet in holy water, fitted them with red shoes that had been blessed, and performed rites of purification. Some were said to recover instantly, falling to their knees in tears. Others screamed and fought, their limbs still jerking uncontrollably. Within weeks, the numbers dwindled. Whether by faith, exhaustion, or coincidence, the epidemic faded as suddenly as it began. Contemporaries blame spiritual causes: wrath, sin, possession, and modern historians see a more complex picture. One theory is ergot poisoning, which we'll get to that here in a little bit. I don't want to dig too deep in that because I think that's where we're leading. Psychologists studying later cases like the Tonkakia laughter epidemic in 1962 or the Junebug outbreak in 1962 found the same pattern. One person displays a physical reaction to stress, others mirror it subconsciously, and the behavior cascades. In Tonkakia, a schoolgirl began to laugh uncontrollably after a stressful exam. Within weeks, hundreds were laughing or crying without control. Spreading through neighboring villages, the laughter lasted for months. In the Junebug case, factory workers developed nausea rashes from a bug bite that didn't exist. Doctors found no physical cause. It was fear manifesting through the body, the same mechanism that may have driven Strasbourg citizens to dance until they died. So what links them all is suggestion and belief. When the mind's limits are tested, it looks for a language to express distress, and in 1518, that language was dance. But why dancing? Why not screaming or violence or silence? For that, historians looked at the culture at the time. Dance in medieval Europe wasn't merely entertainment, it was ritual. Villagers danced to bring rain, drive out evil, to honor saints, and to mark the turning of the seasons. In that sense, the dance plague was a distortion of something familiar, a sacred gesture turned inside out. The people of Strasbourg may have seen dancing as both dangerous and purifying, as a means to expel guilt through the body. For nearly 2 months, Strasbourg, teetering on the edge of chaos, commerce stalled. Processions clogged the streets. Priests performed mass blessings over the city gates. Chroniclers noted that no one trusted their own body anymore. If one person twitched, others stepped back in panic. By September, the council declared the crisis ended. But the records show lingering unease, ordinances banning loud music, restrictions on dancing at weddings and festivals, and increased tithes to St. Vitus' shrines. The city had learned one lesson. Whatever happened that summer could happen again. And indeed, it nearly did. Minor flare-ups appeared in the years following 1518, though none as large as the reports from Alash, Basel, and Swabia mentions individuals taken by the dance, convulsing, trembling, or singing uncontrollably. Then, as quickly as they become, such accounts disappeared from European chronicles. The age of dance plagues ended, replaced by new fears, witchcraft, heresy, and demonic possession. The hysteria changed shape but never vanished. It resurfaced in convents where nuns barked like dogs or meowed like cats. Outbreaks of mass possession that mirrored the same loss of control. It appeared in 1692 Salem, when panic took the form of witchcraft accusations. Every century, the symptoms evolved, but the pattern stayed: collective stress, belief and behavior spreading like infection. The dancing plague wasn't an isolated event. It was part of something older, a human weakness for suggestion, a reflex of the mind to unbearable pressure. But when fear takes hold, it finds a rhythm. And in the summer of 1518, that rhythm filled the city until it could hold no more. What happened next would test the boundaries of faith and medicine, as both church and council fought to reclaim order from chaos. So that's the end of Act 2, everybody. Act 2. I do need to go use the restroom. We have an ad coming in 4 minutes. I'm going to see if I can drag this out just a little tiny bit before we go to bathroom break. Because I am burning up in this thing. I'm sweating. But I'm doing it for y'all. I'm doing it for you guys. So yeah, this is really wild. I kind of know where this story's leading us, and we'll get to that at the end. But I'm saving it. I think I know where this is going. Stick with us, folks. I'm going to go use the bathroom right quick. Go pet the dog, kiss the wife. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back with Act 3, Faith, Medicine, and Fear. Hold on to your hats, folks. Here we go. I have returned. We've got 50 seconds left of ads. Little bouncy pumpkins. Those are great. We're going to wait for 30 more seconds until these ads are over with. Strategically timed that bathroom break. Doing my best to unline my breaks with ads. All right, well, we should be back from ads already. Welcome back, everybody. I want to take time just real quick to say I've noticed the last month or so the numbers have been much better with people watching. Thank you, everybody that's been watching. I know I'm not the best at script writing. I know I'm not the most thematic character in the universe of Twitch. I know I don't have boobs.
Less than 3.
But I'm grateful for every single one of you that show up here.
You're great.
If I could afford to put a hot tub in here, we'd be doing a hot tub stream every week. Believe me. Yeah, my house would collapse. This house was built in the 20s. We're in the second floor right now. This house would collapse. But no, I appreciate every single one of you guys that come here.
You don't want to go looking at numbers.
Yeah, I understand that, and I didn't for a very, very long time. Because for many years I did just stream to myself. But the dream here is to not be a full-time streamer. I just want to know that what I'm saying is actually reaching some people. I really, really enjoy what I do with all of my heart. This is a dream job to have. And it is a job. Script writing, the production, to set up everything that you see. Yes, I am looking at numbers. Oh. Because it is a little disheartening when I stream for 2 hours talking about something that means a lot to me and nobody watches. And we went from 0 consistent viewers, 1 consistent viewer to...
No, you are reaching us.
Yeah, we've gone from 1 consistent viewer weekly to we're averaging close to 10 now. And I'm so grateful for every single person that comes in here. I know this content isn't top tier, but I'm so grateful for every single person that comes in. I really am. Words can't say it enough. One day, we're going to be big. And I'm taking all of you guys with me. We're going to make it.
As long as you're doing what you believe in and being true to yourself, then the right people will find you.
That's right. Yeah, I may or may not have talked a little bit about this last week. But, you know, I had made a decision that I was going to take some things.
No, you're top tier. Less than 3, you're doing the best you can and you're always learning.
Thank you so much. I had said a few weeks ago that I was going to take some things out of the podcast. Because I was losing people in the first 10 minutes of the show where I'm still a little silly, right? And I got an email from a listener. He says, I've been listening since day 1. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't take your stuff out. You're doing great. Don't remove anything because those little silly things are what makes your podcast enjoyable. And, that was all I needed to hear. It was the first and only email I've gotten on the official podcast email. And it meant the world to me, hearing it. I absolutely love you guys, and I'm so grateful for all of you being here tonight. I really am, and every night. Blip has been my ride or die.
Yeah, man, you just gotta be you.
I think in a nutshell,
everyone else is already taken.
I know, right? A very saturated market. If I could have started this during COVID, oh my gosh. I could have made so many new followers. Jeez. If I just had half a brain, I was still working anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to do it, but I just like to know that somebody out there is getting some type of enjoyment out of my content. And I thank every single one of you that are here. Thank you so much. You all deserve a round of applause. Y'all are amazing. Here you go. You can even have one of these.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
And that's why I'm focusing more on y'all. When you're here, when I see the ads come up, we're going to stop and wait for everybody to get through the ads before we move forward. So, that being said, Snorlax has said his piece. Let's move on to Act 3. I don't have any friends here. You know, my wife aside, my wife is my best friend, but I don't have friends here. This is my way of having a drink with the homies. I do it once a week and I enjoy it. It means the world to me being able to sit here and at least talk to folks. Thank you everybody for being here. Y'all are amazing. You really are. Let's move on to Act 3. Act 3, everybody. Act 3. Faith, medicine, and fear. To the people of Strasbourg, the name Saint Vitus carried both hope and terror. He was a Christian martyr from Sicily. I'm about to sneeze. Goodness. Thank God for the mute button. Thank God for the gloves on the onesie. Give me something to sneeze into. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's sneezing season around here. So Saint Vitus was a Christian martyr from Sicily, said to have been executed by the Roman Emperor in the early 4th century. Over time, legend transformed him into a powerful intercessor, protector against tremors, epilepsy, and madness. Shrines to Saint Vitus dotted Central Europe, and his feast day, June 15th, was celebrated by dancing processions. But faith is fragile when fear takes root. The same saint who protected could also punish it. So by the 16th century, preachers warned that Vitus might curse those who sinned against God with uncontrollable movement, forcing them to dance until their penance was complete. So an outbreak began in Strasbourg. Priests recognized the pattern immediately. Afflicted were not simply sick, they were claimed. At first, the clergy moved cautiously. The city's bishop urged patience and prayer. But as dancers multiplied and the deaths rose, he declared the phenomena a divine punishment. The council, now desperate, followed his lead. They ordered a general fast and direct funds to the nearest shrine of St. Vitus, a small chapel in Strasbourg, roughly 30 miles to the west. And according to municipal records, groups of the afflicted were rounded up and escorted there under guard. Many who reached the shrine collapsed before the altar, some convulsed violently, and others laid still for the first time in weeks. For the church, the spectacle was proof of the divine influence. For the city, it was evidence that madness could be contained, but only through faith. News of the miracles at Sovereign spread fast. Villagers brought their sick and trembling to the shrine, hoping for deliverance. The church capitalized on the attention, strengthening its control over the narrative. The dancers had not been victims, they said. They had been warned. Historians later called it a, quote, devotion through terror. Faith was both the disease and the cure. So while the church worked through ritual, the city's physicians turned inward towards ancient medical theory of humoral balance. They believed that the human body was governed by 4 fluids: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Illness came from imbalance. And the dancers, they said, suffered from excess of heat in the blood. They called it choleric fire. The cure? Let it burn out. The diagnosis led to one of the most disastrous public health policies in medieval Europe: sanctioned dancing. Doctors argued that suppressing the movement would kill the afflicted outright. They recommended music, motion, and air circulation. It seemed logical to a medical world that still believed that the heart was a furnace and emotion had physical temperature. This tension between spiritual and scientific defined the outbreak's second month. The clergy blamed sin, the doctors blamed the body. Neither could explain why the madness spread by sight alone. Eyewitnesses wrote of onlookers who began to twitch merely from watching. Parents begged the council to ban gatherings, but when they did, physicians protested, warning that repression would lead to death. Caught between the cross and the scalpel, the city tried both. They opened guild halls by day and prayed for mercy by night. They blessed musicians before performances. They built temporary hospitals and chapels side by side. And by late August, the contradictions became unbearable. The church demanded silence, the doctors demanded sound, and the dancers kept moving. By the end of August, Strasbourg had exhausted every remedy. Faith had failed, medicine had failed. The council issued an order forbidding music and dance throughout the city under penalty of fine. The last groups of dancers were carried to Sovereign, where the rituals continued until the epidemic slowly faded. The archives go silent after September. No one recorded the precise number of dead. Estimates range from dozens to hundreds. And with the silence came a deeper realization that both church and silence had reached their limit. Neither prayer nor diagnostics could grasp what had truly taken hold of the human body that summer. In the aftermath, the church moved swiftly to reclaim control of the narrative. Sermons across Alash warned that sin and indulgence had summoned divine punishment. Priests urged confession and strict observance of holy days. The medical guilds, humiliated, turned their attention back to safer illnesses: plague, fever, and childbirth. And among the people, a new superstition was born. The dance without permission was to tempt the curse. Festivals were curtailed, weddings were silenced, music was policed. For a generation, the people of Strasbourg moved cautiously, afraid that joy itself might awaken the plague again. But when you look across history, you see the same pattern repeating: faith and medicine circling each other around the unknown. In 1634, a convent in Loudun, France, erupted in what was believed to be demonic possession. Dozens of nuns convulsed, screamed obscenities, and accused their priests of witchcraft. The church staged public exorcisms. The priest was burned alive. Modern scholars see it as another outbreak of mass psychogenic illness, stress and repression given physical form. In 1692, the Salem witch trials echoed the same fears. Young girls exhibiting fits and spasms, communities interpreted it as spiritual corruption rather than hysteria. And then there was the laughter epidemic that struck a modern, secular world. No demons, no saints, just the same invisible contagion of emotion and movement. Every era explains it in its own language, but the mechanism, the human vulnerability to suggest and belief, the human vulnerability to suggestion and belief never changes. When the dance finally ended, Strasbourg was left hollowed out. Families buried their dead quietly. Priests led special masses for the, quote, redeemed. Physicians retreated to their books, unwilling to discuss what they couldn't explain. No one spoke of Frau Trophia again. Her name disappears from records as abruptly as it appeared. Some say she died, others say she recovered and fled the city. But by the following spring, the memory of the plague had already returned into legend. a warning retold by priests to fill pews and by doctors to fill treaties. It became a story about other people, ones who were weak in faith or weak in mind. But beneath the denial was something far more human: fear. Because once you see your neighbors lose control of their own body, you realize how thin that boundary truly is. And in 1518, the church and medicine stood side by side and watched a city unravel. They prayed, they theorized, they failed. And when the last dancer fell, neither could say what force had truly passed through them, only that it left its marks in the human imagination. Faith called it divine punishment, medicine called it imbalance, but perhaps it was something deeper. A reminder that belief itself can move the body, shape the mind, and turn fear into motion. The city of Strasbourg survived, but the plague of the mind, that invisible fever that never really passes from one body to the next, never left us. So we've come to the end of Act 3. Honestly, Act 3 was more of a retelling of what happened in Act 2. A little more detail. Hold on a second. I gotta let my cat out. She's locked in a room with me. Hold, please. Don't worry about that. The cat likes to sleep in here, and it is against law to disturb the cat while she's sleeping. So she sat in here until she was ready to go. You know the rules. You know the rules. All right, so in Act 4, we're going to discuss some of the science and theories behind what we think happened with the dancing plague. It's very unique, very unique. Like my tiny Snorlax hands, they are very unique. And it's very hard to hold a beer can with these gloves on. So I hope those of you listening, I hope you're starting to kind of see a pattern here. And you're starting to kind of see that this wasn't an isolated event, all right? This was very, I mean, sure, it was localized, right? But regardless of how they tried to contain it, they couldn't. It seemed like it did spread, and even, this was in Europe, medieval time Europe. Even still, the idea, the core concept of what was happening was passing over to the Americas. And it's interesting that they're drawing a parallel between what we were seeing as a dancing plague and the Salem witch trials. That was a parallel I was not prepared to see in here. I think for the sake of the research, it's kind of leaning towards like a mass hysteria vibe. Right? I think that's what we're leaning into. I have my own ideas, and I kind of had my own idea to begin with. I'm trying not to let that bias me too much, but what can I say? I'm a Snorlax. But, you know, we still got 2 more acts to go through. We're going to dig through these last 2 acts, and we're going to figure out exactly what's going on. Exactly. And when we do...
Thought that was a giant Twinkie for a second. Not a vape.
No, it's about the right size. It's about the right size. Yeah. Sitting here sucking on a Twinkie. I mean, I like the cream filling as much as the next person, but geez. Can you really... Could you... Oh, wait a second. I don't...
Twinkie LMAO.
Yeah, like I'm trying to say this without getting too sideways here. Do you think you could just suck the cream out of a Twinkie? Do you think it's doable? All right, sounds are back up. I don't know that I could do it. I don't think it's doable. No, the sponge cake is too porous. You just get air through it. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying really hard not to do...
Victus hashtag OnlyFans alert.
That's right. I'm barefoot now. You don't want to see my feet? Put my feet in the camera and try to suck the cream out of a Twinkie. Hey, I mean, if it pays the bills, right? In a Snorlax onesie. I wonder if that checks some boxes for people. I'm sure it does. Oh, jeez. That's gonna get clipped. I know it. I know it. Anywhoots, before I decide to start selling feet pictures, let's get into Act 4. I'm sorry, nobody wants to see my feet. Alright, so Act 4, the science and theories, everybody. This is Act 4. Act 4, let's get into it. Centuries after the last answer fell silently, the story of the 1518 plague still refuses to stay buried. Oh no, I'm about to sneeze again? Excuse me. Every time we start a new act, I'm allergic to the act transition. Let's see. I'm gonna do it again. Let me see if I sneeze. Nope. No sneezes. No sneezes. Okay. Act 4. The story of the 1518 plague still refuses to stay buried. Historians, doctors, and psychologists have all tried to dissect it, to separate myth from medicine and faith from psychology. The deeper you look, the stranger it becomes, and for a long time, scholars dismissed the dancing plague as folklore, an exaggerated story meant to moralize against sin. But in the 20th century, the rediscovery of Strasbourg's municipal records confirmed it really happened. The council minutes, written in both Latin and early German, explicitly refer to the dancing sickness and document orders for musicians and for the use of guide halls and pilgrimages to sovereign. This was no myth, it was an event, and that meant science had to explain it. And over the years, several theories had arisen and fallen. In the effort to answer one question, why did hundreds of people dance themselves to death? We're going to skip over this first one because I think this is our most logical explanation. We will come back to it. I'm highlighting it right now. So that way, I know exactly where it is. as soon as I figure out how to highlight this. Google Docs. Come on, here we go. Yeah, there we go. One of the prominent theories is that it places the blame not in the... I don't even want to say it. Because you're going to hear it and you're going to be like, oh my God, that's what it is. They put it in the brain, and more specifically, in belief. The people of Strasbourg lived under crushing spiritual and social tension. They endured famine, plague, and poverty. They were told daily from the pulpit that sin was to blame, that God's punishment was imminent. Historian John Waller, one of the foremost researchers on the case, argues that this collective anxiety erupted into what calls mass psychogenic illness, a kind of shared trance brought on by stress and reinforced by cultural expectation. In simple terms, they danced because they believed they had to. Waller describes it as a psychological contagion in a culture primed for it. People were so conditioned by religious fears that one person displayed the symptoms of divine punishment, dancing. Others unconsciously joined in, tapped by belief, fear, and suggestion. It's the perfect storm. Hunger, faith, fear combining to produce real physical symptoms. To modern psychology, mass psychogenic illness isn't superstition, it's a documented, measurable phenomena. When people under extreme stress begin to exhibit physical symptoms without an organic cause, the behavior can spread through empathy, imitation, and fear. In such outbreaks, the mind's expectation becomes the body's reality. A cough becomes contagious. A tremor becomes an epidemic. The victims aren't pretending. Their suffering is real, but the source lies in the psyche, not in the flesh. In the 1518 outbreak, the mechanism fits. Strasbourg's people were primed to interpret bodily suffering as divine punishment. When Frau Trophia began to dance, others recognized the sign and joined, consciously or not, in that pattern of penance. It's belief weaponized by the subconscious. To understand how something like this could happen, it helps to look at more recent examples. Outbreaks of physical symptoms spreading without infection or poison. Tankakia in 1962 at a girls' boarding school in modern-day Tanzania. It absolutely reminds me of the Topa. Right. It's the same vein, but a different branch of that vein. In a boarding school in modern-day Tanzania, one student began laughing uncontrollably after a stressful exam. Within hours, dozens joined her. The laughter spread to nearby villages, eventually affecting more than 1,000 people. There was no pathogen, no drug, just stress and suggestion. Kashmir in 2010, hundreds of girls in schools across northern India fainted in unison, claiming to feel choking and dizziness. Doctors found no toxins, no environmental cause, and investigators concluded it was a psychogenic event triggered by social pressure and anxiety. Louisiana in 1939, workers at a textile factory began to faint and tremble, believing they had been bitten by a mysterious insect. The factory was evacuated, fumigated, and inspected. However, no insect was ever found. Each case follows the same pattern: stress, fear, mimicry, and belief, producing real physical collapse. And that same mechanism likely drove Strasbourg's dancers into the streets. But why dancing? If stress and suggestion can cause convulsions or laughter, why would it take the form of dancing? The answer lies in cultural encoding, the way society defines acceptable forms of expressing distress. In medieval Europe, dance carried sacred meaning. It was associated with religious devotion, penance, and the saints, especially Saint Vitus, whose cult dominated the Rhine region. In other words, the people of Strasbourg already had a mental framework for the event. When they felt anxiety or guilt, their bodies expressed it through the symbolic act they'd been taught could purge sin, and that was dance. And once that pattern began, it became self-reinforcing. You see someone dancing in agony, you believe the curse is real. You begin to tremble. You believe you've been touched by it too. The line between voluntary and involuntary disappears. Fear becomes choreography. When the city council intervened, building stages, hiring musicians, they unknowingly amplified the problem. To the dancers, the council endorsements was validation. To the onlookers, the spectacle proved that the affliction was real. Public rituals magnify contagion. Every measure taken to contain it made it stronger. In modern terms, Strasbourg performed a feedback loop, a society broadcasting its own fear through the language of faith and medicine, reinforcing the behavior it sought to stop. We tend to think of such outbreaks as relics of superstition, something confined to the past, but the psychology machinery that drove the dancing plague is still with us. Consider the June bug epidemic in 1962 in the United States. Factory workers reported dizziness, vomiting, and rashing, said to be caused by a mysterious insect bite, but there was no insect ever found, no toxins detected. What spread was anxiety and belief that others were being infected. The body responds to suggestion with real, measurable symptoms. In one worker, the stress triggered nausea. In another, it caused a rash. In Strasbourg, it made people dance. Even with modern understanding, no single explanation fits perfectly. The truth may lie somewhere between the convergence of hunger, faith, fear, and physiology. Science can describe the mechanism, but not the meaning. It can chart how belief moves through a crowd, but not why the mind yields to it. And that makes the dancing plague so haunting. It exists in the no man's land between the physical and the spiritual, the same territory where human understanding breaks down. So when historians like John Waller revisit the Strasbourg incident, they always return to the same question. Did they choose to dance? The records suggest not. Witnesses described faces locked up in agony, movements beyond will, and exhaustion so severe that death came mid-step. If this was hysteria, it was a kind that erased choice, an entire city's pain transplanted into motion, bypassing language and reason. Waller calls it a psychosis of belief. The people of Strasbourg weren't just victims of stress, they were participants in a shared story that overpowered them, a collective hallucination that became lethal. The lesson of 1518 isn't confined to the past. Today, hysteria spreads through screens instead of streets. Fear travels at the speed of a signal. And though no longer calling it dancing mania, we still see its echoes in panics that spread online, in rumors that cause real harm, and in crowds moved by emotion stronger than reason. The medium has changed, the mind has not. What happened in Strasbourg reminds us that the human body is not just biology, it's a reflection of belief. Whether fear becomes overwhelming and shared, it finds a way to move through us. Sometimes in laughter, sometimes in trembling, and once in a city in Rhine, in dance. In 1815, that belief moved through hundreds of people, compelling them to move until they collapsed. Whether it was faith or fear, the results were the same. The mind made the body its instrument, and the city became its stage. The music has long since stopped, but the rhythm never really left us. Okay, so folks, we've come to the end. That was the end of Act 5. Wait.
Flip 3 SC,
Wait.
flip 3 claps, flip 3 SC, flip 3 claps, flip 3 SC.
So that was the end of Act 4. And I'm not going to lie, I wrote Act 5 myself, so I know that Act 5 is more of a recap.
Oh.
We're going to skip Act 5. All right? We're going to break it down. Here between me and y'all, right now. We're going to break it down. I tried to come up with a joke about breaking it down. Gonna break it down like MC Hammer. Yeah, wait. You know, let's look it up. Let's find a good Yep. Yeah, well, I couldn't, yep. Gonna break it down like MC Hammer. Yeah, let's go with that. Not a great joke. Anyway, so let's look at this. We have been leaving out one major integral part of this entire dialogue. And I left it out for a reason. Because, personally, I believe that this is our most plausible reason for the dancing plague. And if you were here during Season 1, we did talk about this a little bit. Aeon and I liked to talk extensively about mass psychosis and things of the like. I'm just curious. Anybody watching, do you guys know what the official cause of this was? I hate to be that guy to be like, chat, tell me about it, chat. Shark, worlds, blip. What do you guys think is the official... Don't Google it. Don't cheat. What do you think is the official explanation for the dancing plague?
Rye bread ergot fungus.
There you go. I knew you had it. I knew somebody had to know. I knew Blib had it. I knew. That is...
Flip 3 this.
Yes, I intentionally dodged that part of the script. So let me go back. I'm going to read this section that I highlighted. And it is the prevailing theory of what caused the dancing plague. It says, and I quote, "The oldest and most popular explanation is ergotism, poisoning caused by the fungus Calviceptus purpina, which grows on damp rye and produces alkaloids similar to LSD. Under the right conditions, humidity, poor grain storage, and famine, ergot can infect entire harvests. When consumed, it causes convulsions."
Lol LSD.
Oh, yeah, right. It causes convulsions, hallucinations, and violent muscle spasms. Victims of a twitch, jerk, and move uncontrollably. At first glance, it fits the symptoms. Strasbourg had suffered a famine the previous year. Grain stores were low and often damp. It's entirely possible the city's poor were eating contaminated bread. But the ergot theory begins to unravel under scrutiny. Victims of ergotism typically experience gangrene, delirium, and severe pain, not rhythmic coordinated movement. The afflicted rarely survive long enough to dance for days, and perhaps most crucially, ergot hallucinations are individual. They don't spread by sight. If ergot was responsible, why did the madness move from one person to another? And I think this is why we have the social concept, which we touched on many times tonight. This society was primed to believe in a very specific saint, Saint Vitus, who punished people by making them dance. Dance is a loose term here. And when you've got 400 or 500 people tripping balls and they're psychologically predisposed to a saint that is prominent in their region, I do believe that the psychological factor does play into what happened here. Ergot poisoning aside, they were psychologically predisposed to dancing because of Saint Vitus. I think, and now I'm not a professional, I think because of the ergot poisoning and the psychological and sociological predisposure to Saint Vitus primed them especially for dancing.
A lovely melting pot of causes.
Yes, this is what's the word I'm looking for here? This is a... Oh, geez. There's a term. I can't think of it right now. Oh, geez, it's right there. I almost had it. Forget about it. This whole area was affected by multifaceted things that brought
Perfect
about...
storm.
That's the word. That's it. There we go. Yes. A perfect storm. It was a perfect storm. Thank you. It was a perfect storm.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. It's I'm like 3.5 beers deep, and these things are strong. So, my brain goes with the beers. But anyway, yeah, it was a perfect storm. I don't think that we could duplicate this again if we tried.
Great movie, that LUL.
Right? Who didn't like The Perfect Storm? I've recently gone back and reread The Mist, and I realized how much I enjoyed that book. Oh, geez, the ending. Oh, I actually planned on watching it this weekend, but I was just too busy. But yeah. Perfect Storm. That is exactly what we're dealing with here, is a perfect storm. We have sociological and psychological predisposition to a saint that punishes people by dancing. And they probably had ergot poisoning. And, you know, it's like the beginning of the dance sequence in Thriller. Just a little shoulder at first, and then it just comes out. You know, you start off just with a little twitching, and then the brain power kicks in, right? Oh, geez, well, I'm twitching. Well, it must be a Saint Vitus curse, and we know, because of the medicine of the day, we've got to dance. We've got to move to get the heat out of the blood. These poor people. So yes, I do believe that this is ergot poisoning. And this was not the only recorded instance of ergot poisoning. Let me find the others right quick. So early records, the earliest known recording of ergot poisoning dates back to ancient Greece and China. Ergot poisoning became prevalent in medieval Europe, particularly between the 9th and 17th century. Epidemics occurred in France, Germany, England, causing severe symptoms such as hallucinations, convulsions, gangrene, and death. Some historians are drawing a parallel between ergot poisoning and the Salem witch trials. The young women who accused others of witchcraft experienced symptoms similar to ergotism, such as hallucinations and convulsions. 19th and 20th century, ergot poisoning continued to be a problem in some parts of the world, particularly in areas where rye is a stable crop. However, improved agricultural practices and the development of fungicides have significantly reduced its incidence. So yeah, it's been going on since Grecian times. Early Chinese historians have found examples And I told y'all last week we're gonna find some great pictures. Here we go. We got pictures. We got tons of pictures. Oh my gosh, we've got pictures for days. Nope, too small. I was hoping. Oh yeah, this is great. Yeah, these were. Yeah, this kind of just tells the whole story in a nutshell. We got people dancing. We've got altars in the background covered in bones. So back then we used dogs as a telltale sign for, symptoms of disease. So we see dogs in the foreground. We even see fresh graves in the foreground. People who look like they're enjoying themselves, but then there's also people here who look worried. And this is just one of many depictions of the dancing plague. Look at this monstrosity. Yeah, this is very, very much like what I was anticipating. This is why I like medieval art, because they tell a story all the way around. No matter how you look at it, there is some significant religious imagery here, but then there's also, look, we've got people dancing, we've got people in distress, we've got people collapsed, we got people just, drinking, having a good time, people playing instruments. The background shows significant religious imagery for the time, and this is why I love ancient, imageries. Ooh, yeah, this is a good one. Check this guy out. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, dancing with the devil, friends. Dancing with the freaking devil. Yeah, these wood cuttings are great. Absolutely great. And these are depictions of death forcing people to dance. Phenomenal wood cuttings. I love these because these were made by hand, a line at a time. Absolutely wonderful images. Wonderful. And I say again, they tell a story. They really do. Ooh, this is wonderful. Oh, this painting is incredible. So this one's actually called the Dancing Plague. Oh, wow. I love that the faces aren't complete. Look at this guy over here. The face isn't quite right. None of the faces are like finished. They're all just a little distorted. This is very unique for classical and medieval style paintings. Very, very unique. Like some of the faces don't even make sense. Like this one here. That just doesn't make sense. But in the grand scheme of the image, it works. It's like anguish through imagery, right? And I feel like this is more what we would have seen, right? Because everybody looks like precariously exhausted, kind of leaning on one another just to hold themselves up. But there's a definite intention of movement here. This doesn't look chaotic like a riot. It looks more like dancing. This is excellent. Oh, geez, I love these old paintings. I would love to see this in person. So yeah, I think we can all agree that ergot poisoning is probably the case here, with a psychological and sociological predisposition to some basic understanding of Saint Vitus. So unfortunately, we're going to say that this is not truly paranormal. Sadly. I would love for this to be paranormal because they would be great. Think if this were to happen today. There's so many people like me that are just kind of fucked up in the head that get a couple 100,000 people like me out in the streets dancing. We would all be doing the Tina Belcher twerk. Yeah, that would be what we do. Hold on. Yeah, if this were to happen today, like, this is what you would see in the streets. You ready? A couple 100,000 people doing this. That's exactly what you would see. Yep. I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. Well. Well, folks, we've come to the end. We've come to the end yet again. Before we go too much further, let's see if we can find somebody to raid. It's only the right thing to do, right? The guy we raided last week was... I raided him because it looked like he was really struggling. Yeah, it looks like he's streaming again. He's got one person watching, probably him. Let me see.
I'll hit radio.
Whoa.
Thank you kindly for the stream and the company.
Yes, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You know, we do what we can. We do what we can. I'm glad everyone's here. I say again, I appreciate every single person that comes in here and watches the podcast live. I'm glad all of you are here. I'm glad you all came and found...
Good strem. Less than 3.
I'm glad you all found the content something worth watching. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to find somebody to raid here. I am very grateful for every single one of you that come in. We're gonna proudly raid my buddy Jim here. He talks kind of about the same thing.
Yeah, I liked hearing about it.
What did we say we were gonna talk about next week? I forgot already. It was a haunting. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Let me write that down. Yeah, we're going to cover Waverly Hills next week. We can take the dancing plague off. I just pulled the eraser out of my marker. Jeez. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. We're going to do that next week. give you a little cherry on top of
Good night per day, everyone.
with spooky season. I'm glad all of you are here. We're gonna raid my buddy Jim. I do have a little tiny. I do got a little bit left to say. Don't go anywhere quite yet.
Night night.
Thanks for being here, Shark. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here every single time. I really am. Just trying to bring my stream manager. Jeez. There we go.
Less than 3.
Now we got it. Now we got it. Now we're getting there. All right. Well, we're going to raid Jim here. He's on the same vein as what we're talking about here. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I appreciate every single one of you. You all are amazing in every single way possible. I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you all came in, decided to find my my content the right thing for you this evening. Thank you so much. You were the best.
Have a nice week, everyone.
Who are you calling a cootie queen?
I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's fucking space aliens.
Not space aliens. So here you go. Wait, here you go.
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint licker?
All right, folks. Well, we're going to get out of here. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to raid Jim. Where we go? I got one little thing left to say. The dancing plague of 1518 wasn't a legend. It was a warning. A reminder that belief, whether in saints or science, in curses or in rumors, can move through the human mind like a fever. And when the world grows uncertain, when fear becomes stronger than reason, we still look for meaning in the madness. Maybe we always will. Because the line between reason and hysteria is as thin as the beat of a drum. And every so often, someone somewhere starts to move to a rhythm no one can hear. So keep your eyes open, and you watch for that person with a little twitch, with a little shake, something that tells you something isn't right. Something that tells you there's a bounce in their step that tells you something isn't right. And when they start dancing, turn away. Don't start dancing with them. Because you never know what happens when you follow strangers. But whatever you do, make sure you follow me. Beyond the shadows. Happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe. I'll see you next week. Have a good night.
A creature like that. How would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Space. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.